Tonight, we delve into a story steeped in power, intrigue, and a sense of deja vu that could rival the most binge-worthy dramas. The headline: Donald Trump just returned to the Oval Office, and his promise of peace in West Asia are making waves. But, spoiler alert, history suggests you might want to hold your breath. Now, let's rewind. Throughout his campaign, Trump promised peace in West Asia. "We want to have peace. We want to have peace on Earth," he declared in Dearborn, Michigan.
We want to have peace on Earth.
A noble sentiment for sure, but this is the same leader who brought us embassy relocations, assassinations, and sanctions that devastated civilian populations. Here's a flashback to our interview with Mariam, a Muslim American in the swing state of Michigan who voted for Trump.
Who did you vote for today? I voted for Donald Trump. And why did you vote for Donald Trump? I know that's jarring. I never thought I would vote for Donald Trump in my life. So actually, I'm from Houston, Texas, and in Texas usually goes Republican. And I am a hardcore Democrat, and I wanted Kamala to know that she lost a Democrat to Donald Trump, because every time she interviews and she's asked about her policies, she usually says, well, I'm better than Trump, and I don't think that's a good answer, so I voted for Donald Trump.
2.1 million of you went absolutely ballistic because of her vote. But what's even crazier to believe is that many Muslims did in fact vote for Trump. Why? And that's because of their frustration with the Democratic Party's unwavering support for Israel and its stance on Gaza. Now, this raises a critical question. Does it really matter who occupies the Oval Office? History says no, as U.S. foreign policy has remained remarkably consistent, irrespective of the administration. U.S. foreign policy is like that friend who only shows up when it benefits them. Whether it's Obama, Trump, or Biden, the approach to West Asia follows a familiar script: wars, sanctions, assassinations, proxy drama, and military aid to regimes like Israel. It's all about keeping Uncle Sam's imperial interests alive and thriving. Let's revisit the highlights or lowlights of his first presidency. Number 1, moving the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, a provocative decision that dismantled decades of international consensus on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Number 2, the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, a move that brought the US and Iran to the brink of war. Number 3, the sanctions. They hit ordinary citizens hardest, intensifying humanitarian crisis across the region. Now, fast forward to today, and Trump's back, and he's issued an ultimatum to Hamas, warning of serious consequences if hostages weren't released before his inauguration. Bold words, but are we surprised? This is the same guy who launched more drone strikes in his first 2 years than Obama, killed more civilians in 6 months than his predecessors did in 8 years, and scrapped rules meant to protect non-combatants. He's also encouraged Israel to finish the job in Gaza and hinted at targeting Iran's nuclear facilities. If this is the blueprint for peace, it's one written in the language of escalation. But wait, there's more. Trump also stopped reporting civilian deaths by drones in 2019. Out of sight, out of mind, right? And let's not forget, he vetoed an effort to end U.S. support for Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen, one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. Oh, and about that peace he keeps talking about, the choices for Trump's potential cabinet are very telling. Names like Marco Rubio for Secretary of State and Pete Hegseth for Defense signal a continuation of policies heavily aligned with Israeli interests. Rubio has criticized ceasefire efforts, while Hegseth's controversial views on religious sites in Jerusalem raise serious concerns about his approach to the region. Let's not forget about the symbolic gesture Trump hiked an Israeli settlement in the occupied Golan, named in his honor, and his administration's cuts to UNRWA funding, which left millions of Palestinian refugees in dire condition. But perhaps the most alarming development is Trump encouraging Israel to take an even more aggressive stance, as if that's possible. That, coupled with his threats against Iran, is just nudging the region closer to World War III. As Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's prime minister, celebrates Trump's return as history's greatest comeback, it's worth asking what this means for West Asia. Will Trump bring the peace he's promised as a changed man? I mean, maybe he'll bring back TikTok. But if history is any guide, the answer is clear. The machinery of U.S. foreign policy marches on indifferent to the faces at the helm. Stay informed and stay critical, and share to support our work.